Man, if your heart is still racing from Thursday night, you are absolutely not alone. We are breaking down Montreal's absolute jaw-dropper of a 6-2 victory over the Carolina Hurricanes in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, nobody, and I mean literally nobody, saw this coming right out of the gate. The speed, the aggression, the sheer shock value of what the Canadiens pulled off was just off the charts. We have a ton to cover today, so grab your notebooks because we're going to break down exactly how this massive upset was engineered.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is the game plan. We'll start with the Game 1 shock, then grade Carolina's collapse, look at Montreal's opportunistic masterclass, highlight some key players to watch, and finally, ask the big questions for Game 2.
So, Section 1, the Game 1 shock. 4 first-period goals. Trust me, shock is really the only word for how quickly this escalated the second the puck hit the ice. It was a complete blitz. Opening a conference final series with a 4-goal opening frame is an absolute stunner. You're playing against a powerhouse Carolina team that has been suffocating opponents all postseason, and wham, you hit them with a 4 spot right out of the gate. The energy in that building shifted so fast it honestly gave you whiplash. Now, what's really interesting about this is the statistical paradox staring right back at us. Carolina dominated possession. They finished with a massive 61.9% shot share at 5-on-5. Montreal only had 38.1%. If you only heard those numbers, you'd bet your house that Carolina won this game comfortably. But they didn't. They got blown out, which forces us to ask, how do you control the puck that much and completely collapse?
Moving on to Section 2, grading Carolina's collapse.
We really need to take a collective breath here and look analytically at the sheer gravity of where the Hurricanes failed. Carolina gets a D. I know it's harsh, but it's the truth. This was undeniably the Hurricanes' absolute worst performance of the 2026 postseason. To give up 6 goals when your entire identity is built on suffocating defense, that's shattered ice right there. The foundation completely cracked. Let's break down exactly how that D grade was earned, because believe it or not, it actually started great. They took a 1-0 lead in the very first minute. Everything was going to plan, but then it rapidly devolved into a defensive nightmare. They surrendered 4 straight goals to close out that opening frame, and the structure completely gone. They allowed 12 total high-danger scoring chances in the game, with 8 of them coming in that first period alone. 8. You just cannot bleed quality chances like that. This builds into one of the most staggering contrasts I have ever seen in playoff hockey. In sweeps over Ottawa and Philly in rounds 1 and 2, Carolina allowed just 5 goals total across 2 entire series. Yet in Game 1 alone, Montreal scores 6. Just let that sink in for a second. The Canadiens did more damage in 60 minutes of hockey than the Senators and Flyers did in 2 entire playoff rounds. Unreal. Which brings us to Section 3, Montreal's opportunistic masterclass. Look, we have to give credit where credit is due. The Canadiens were gritty, they were sharp, and their execution was a thing of absolute beauty. Montreal earns a rock-solid A-. They earned this elite grade because they did exactly what they needed to do. They reached this conference finals by being incredibly comfortable playing without the puck. They let you hold it, they let you pass it around the perimeter, and the second you make a mistake, boom, they pounce. They are the ultimate counterpunchers right now. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what makes them so dangerous. Entering this series, Montreal had a 45.6% shot share. That was the lowest of the 4 remaining teams, but it just didn't matter. Their strategy of opportunistic, high-danger capitalization perfectly countered Carolina's possession game. You can have the puck all you want, but Montreal is going to get the goals. I want to break down exactly how this looks on the ice, because this third-period Slafkovsky goal is the perfect microcosm of Montreal's precise approach. Watch how this unfolds. Step 1, Kaiden patiently waits and finds a tight passing lane. Step 2, Nick Suzuki receives it in the neutral zone, eyes up, and threads a gorgeous, perfect pass. Step 3, Juraj Slafkovsky gets it, executes a filthy toe drag to create his own space, and snipes it home to make it 5-2. It's clinical, it's fast, it is devastatingly efficient. All right, Section 4, key players to watch. That kind of execution requires elite individual effort, and we've got to start in the crease. Pre-series, Frederik Andersen had the best save percentage and the highest goals saved above average of any goalie left in the tournament. He was a literal brick wall. But Game 1, a jarring, shocking blemish. 4 goals allowed in the opening frame alone. Now, you can't put it all on him, since Carolina's leaky defensive structure definitely left him exposed to those high-danger chances. But when your star goalie gets chased early, it sets a terrifying tone for the whole series. On the flip side, you have the absolute heart and soul of the Canadiens' game plan, Phillip Danault. Listen to this quote. A vital two-way performance instrumental against a team that hogged the puck. When you're playing a team that won't give you the puck, you absolutely need a center who is willing to do the dirty work. Danault was everywhere. He was the gritty engine driving this entire upset. His night was a masterclass in two-way hockey. He scored the go-ahead goal in the first period. Then, he assisted on what proved to be the game-winning goal. But it's not just the offense, right? He blocked 4 shots, which was the most of any Canadiens forward, and logged 3 heavy hits. If Montreal is going to advance, replicating this exact kind of ferocious two-way effort from Danault is going to be absolutely crucial.
And speaking of blocking shots, 30 total block shots by the Montreal Canadiens. And here's the craziest part about that. Their goalie, Jakub Dobes, had 25 saves. Think about that for a second. That means Montreal's skaters actually blocked more shots with their bodies than their goaltender had to save. That is the ultimate definition of team sacrifice. They literally threw themselves in front of Carolina's offense.
Finally, Section 5. Big questions for Game 2.
This brings us to a massive pivot point. So the crucial point is exactly what Carolina must fix to avoid falling into a devastating 2-0 hole at home. The checklist is pretty clear. Number 1, they have to translate that massive possession time into actual goals on the scoreboard. Number 2, they have to figure out how to get their shots past Montreal's absolute army of shot blockers. Number 3, they need immediate continuity and confidence back in net from Andersen. And lastly, they have to fix their structure and limit those high-danger scoring chances. If they don't, Montreal will definitely make them pay again.
Which leaves us staring at the ice, asking one final defining question. Was this a brilliant, repeatable blueprint by Montreal? Did they crack the Carolina code by being perfectly opportunistic? Or was this a chaotic 6-goal outlier in a series where goals are about to come at an absolute premium? We will find out when the puck drops for Game 2. Thanks for learning with me today on this explainer. I really can't wait to see what happens next.